Poverty is the state of not having enough. Not enough food, not enough clothing, not enough shelter, or not enough utilities. These basic resources are sometimes referred to as FCSU. Going off of this definition, Robert Rector makes a compelling argument. In Rector's argument, poverty is like being in a snowstorm without a coat. You don't have access to a coat, so you have no way of protecting yourself against the cold. He argues that today, Americans are not experiencing poverty because most of the people who fall below the so-called poverty threshold have access to coats. However, what Rector's argument misses is how the coat got there in its current state. For example, somebody gave you the coat and you still need money for other resources. Maybe you need coats for your children or other members in your household. Maybe the coat has holes or it's too small and you need a new coat. Or perhaps you bought the coat when you were financially stable and now your financial situation wouldn't allow you to buy that same coat today. This way of only looking at the amenity, the coat in this example, does not give us a full and adequate picture of what it's like to live in poverty. Rector's research shows that the majority of poor people in America have amenities such as cars, air conditioning, TVs, DVD players, kitchen appliances, good homes, and adequate money for food and other necessities. This graph shows the percentage of poor U.S. households with access to various amenities. While 99.6% of poor households have a refrigerator in their homes, this does not mean that the refrigerator is working or that the refrigerator has food in it. Rector makes a good point. The level of deprivation is not what people think or what the media portrays. For example, a majority of people living in poverty are not living in homeless shelters or eating at soup kitchens daily. However, this does not mean that those living in poverty are not facing obstacles, even though they have access to amenities. The incompleteness of Rector's argument leads us to add another component to our definition of poverty. Poverty goes further than material possessions. Basing the definition of poverty solely on a monetary or material basis misses the interpersonal, social, and psychological components of poverty.
This is where the capability approach comes in. Capabilities are the total set of beings and doings a person can turn into functionings if they choose to. Functionings are what people are actually being and doing. The key component of capabilities is the element of choice. Capabilities are converted into human dignity. For example, your total set of capabilities, or the total set of your beings and doings in America, could include things such as being fed with healthy, nourishing food, housed with enough space, being healthy with the ability to enjoy and experience recreation and relaxation, heard both politically and socially, and given the ability to engage in a community without fear of shame or exclusion. Functionings are what people are actually doing or being. For example, you might have the option to be fed with healthy, nourishing food, but you choose to fast for religious reasons. You may have the ability to be housed, but may choose to live a nomadic lifestyle instead. You may have the ability to enjoy recreational activities, but work or spend that time doing other things. You may have the ability to vote, but choose not to participate in the political process. And finally, you may not want to be engaged in your community, however, there is still the option to do so. One way to represent the capabilities approach is through this dance analogy. Poverty is like a dance happening and someone is standing on the edge of the stage. They feel that they are unable to join the dance because they don't have the right clothes or they are too tired. They will feel they will be shamed or they won't be able to understand the rules. However, the capabilities approach to poverty asserts that the person should have the ability to dance if they choose to. The people inside the circle could offer amenities like extra clothes, snacks, or guidance in the form of teaching them the moves. However, the most important component of the capabilities approach is the ability to choose how you'd like to function. The person on the outside may choose to join the dance or they may choose to decline. This analogy represents Nussbaum's capabilities approach. She believes that poverty is the lack of capabilities. She lists 10 central capabilities as being important to all people despite their race, origin, religion, sex, gender, and age. She states that, quote, at a bare minimum, an ample threshold level of 10 central capabilities is required, end quote. The 10 capabilities are shown on the screen and include life, bodily health, bodily integrity, senses, imagination and thought, emotions, practical reason, affiliation, other species, play, and control over one's environment. Nussbaum's list was created to respect all freedoms and to ensure that individuals have equal opportunities for a quality life filled with equal respect and dignity. In short, she values quality of life for everyone beyond monetary measures.
Now that we have defined poverty as the combination of not enough resources and not enough capabilities to live a dignified life, we now have to think about how to measure it. To determine the poverty threshold, the United States uses the OPM, or Official Poverty Measure. To calculate the OPM, the United States takes the amount of money it would take to feed a family and multiplies it by 3, while adjusting for inflation and size. The OPM does not adjust for geographic location, non-discretionary expenses, or new data that suggests families only spend 1/6 of their income on food. The other measure used in the United States is the SPM, or the Supplemental Poverty Measure. The SPM has advantages over the OPM because it broadens and improves it. The SPM considers non-cash benefits like food programs and subtracts non-discretionary expenses like taxes, healthcare, childcare, and commuting. The OPM only focuses on cash income, while the SPM takes geographic differences in housing costs into consideration. Ultimately, the SPM aims to lower financial distress and increase well-being. The Human Development Index does not simply focus on income. It considers other factors, such as education and health, when measuring the well-being of a country. The HDI combines life expectancy data, expected years of schooling, mean years of schooling, and gross national income per capita to calculate the HDI. SEDA, or Sustainability and Economic Development Assessment, organizes their well-being index into 3 sections. Sustainability, which includes factors such as environmental quality, government effectiveness and accountability, gender equality, interpersonal safety, and trust. Investments, which includes sections such as access to healthcare outcomes, access to education and education outcomes, and infrastructure. Finally, the third component is economics, the income and wealth of a country, the economic stability of the area, inflation, GDP and inflation volatility, and the rate of employment, unemployment, and self-employment. We believe poverty should be measured using a 2-pronged approach. First, communities should be measured using the HDI and a modified version of the SEDA, specialized for smaller community access. Community may be defined by country, then state, city, county, or even neighborhood in high-density areas. This step identifies poverty hotspots and places experiencing specific components of poverty. Officials often identify low-income areas, and poverty does not typically occur in singular households scattered amongst relative wealth. Next, specific households should be evaluated using the SPM. By using this 2-pronged approach, we can better address community concerns, like building new grocery stores or recreation centers, and specific familial needs, such as elder care or transportation. To understand and address the causes and consequences of poverty and inequality in ways that respect the dignity of every person, we believe that poverty should be defined as the combination of not having enough resources or capabilities to live a dignified, fulfilling life.